Hello everyone and welcome back to KORR Monsters. This week we are in Detroit, Michigan for the second to last stop of the 2009 season. Our field of trucks for this event features Herbert Miller in Airborne Assault, Mike Burton in Bull Tilt, Sam Carter in Cottonmouth, Kyle Gibson in Craftsman Tools, two-time defending racing champion Harper Ray in Line X Defender, Huxley Baxter in Moving Violation, Logan Hopkins in Nemesis, former racing champion Kinsley Parks in NGK Igniter, Abby Powell bringing Prehistoric Crush back to KORR Monsters, haven't seen that truck in quite a long time, another former racing champion Trip Cassidy in Rat Trap 6, Joe Montgomery in Snow Problem, another driver we have not seen in quite a while here, and then rounding out our field, Toby Miller in Warlord. Now to get the event started, we're going right into round one of racing. You can see the bracket here. Line X Defender, Rat Trap 6, Prehistoric Crush, and Moving Violation all getting an automatic run into round number 2. But before we get to those trucks, we have to go through round number 1 of racing, which is going to see Snow Problem versus Craftsman Tools, Cottonmouth versus Nemesis, Airborne Assault versus Bull Tilt, and then Warlord versus NGK Igniter finishing us off. Now pulling up to the line for round number 1, Snow Problem versus Craftsman Tools. Brand new chassis for Snow Problem this year. Former Busted Knuckles chassis. Right now, Tall Order going up against Craftsman Tools though. And already Craftsman about a truck and a half advantage going into the last turn. Good turnout of both trucks. Come to the line though. It's going to be close, but it's going to be Craftsman Tools getting the win. And moving on into round number 2. Next up, Cottonmouth versus Nemesis. Waiting on that green and away they go. Little quicker start for Cottonmouth. Ooh, Nemesis going really wide in turn number 1. Coming to the line the first time. Huge lead for Cottonmouth. And now Cottonmouth going wide in the second turn. Coming to the line. Still an easy win though for Cottonmouth. Next up, Airborne Assault versus Bull Tilt. And Airborne Assault absolutely nailed that light. Coming around for the first time at the line. It's going to be Airborne Assault by about a truck length over Bull Tilt. Coming to the line again for the finish. It's going to be Airborne Assault getting into trouble but picking up the win and keeping that truck on all 4 wheels. Now last race of round number 1, Warlord versus NGK Igniter. Good start out of both trucks. Toby Miller in Warlord, no slouch, used to drive Wildcat. And of course, him and his team have confirmed they have a brand new Warlord chassis coming next year, and this is the last event for this truck. Right now, NGK Igniter getting the win here, moving on into round number 2 of racing. Speaking of round number 2, the bracket's going to see Line X Defender going up against Craftsman Tools, Rat Trap 6 going up against its teammate Cottonmouth, Prehistoric Crush going up against Airborne Assault, and then Moving Violation going up against NGK Igniter to finish off round 2. Now first matchup for round number 2, Line X Defender versus Craftsman Tools. Craftsman, a little bit of a jump on our reigning racing champion. Of course, pair of Super Duties here on the track. Line X struggling really bad in the turn. Massive lead for Craftsman Tools right now. Coming to the line. Ooh, did he get the wheels up the ramp? Officials say he did. Craftsman Tools gets an upset win going into round number 3. Now, battle of the teammates. Rat Trap 6 versus Cottonmouth. Good start out of both these trucks. And Cottonmouth a little wider in turn number 1. Coming to the line the first time. Almost a dead heat between these two. Coming around once again. These trucks almost identical. And Rat Trap just barely edging out his teammate there to get the win. And move into round number 2. Next up, Prehistoric Crush versus Airborne Assault. We have not seen this dinosaur in quite a long time. I believe 2003 was the last time we saw it here in KORR Monsters. Right now, Airborne Assault kind of wide in the turn, but looks like still has an advantage, but not a big one. Coming around the last turn. Great turn for Airborne Assault, but I think he just missed the ramp. He did. Prehistoric Crush is going to get the win due to a penalty or an airborne assault. Now last race of round number 2, moving violation versus NGK Igniter. Good start out of both trucks. And both a little wide. Igniter quite a bit wider than moving violation, but almost even at the line. It's all going to come down to this last turn. Great turn out of both trucks, but it's going to be NGK Igniter getting the win going into the semifinals. Now for our semifinals, the matchups are going to be Craftsman Tools versus Rat Trap 6, and then Prehistoric Crush going up against NGK Igniter. Pulling up to the line, Craftsman Tools versus Rat Trap 6. Rat Trap 6 currently undefeated since its debut. And going really wide in that turn is Rat Trap. Across the line first time, almost a dead heat. Rat Trap all over the place going into the second turn. Coming to the line, it's going to be Craftsman Tools picking up the win, ending that winning streak for Rat Trap. Now other side of the bracket, Prehistoric Crush versus NGK Igniter. Can the Dinosaur get an upset win here? Not with a start like that. NGK Igniter, massive jump on the start. Coming across the line the first time, and indeed, massive lead for NGK Igniter. Oh, and Prehistoric Crush is going to clip a car. All kinds of out of shape there. NGK Igniter, very easy win going into the finals against Craftsman Tools. So we'll have to see which one of these trucks can get the win here in Detroit. Chevy versus Ford, no other way to do it. Off we go. Good start out of both trucks. Coming to the line the first time, it's going to be Igniter with a very slight advantage. Oh, Igniter's going to clip a car. Great turn out of Craftsman. Coming to the line, and Igniter gets the win. NGK Igniter getting the win here over Craftsman Tools in Detroit. Now we get ready for Freestyle. You can see the order on screen. We'll be starting off with Cottonmouth. Then we'll go into Nemesis, Prehistoric Crush, Snow Problem, Warlord, Bull Tilt, Moving Violation, Airborne Assault, Linux Defender, Rat Trap 6, NGK Igniter, and then we'll be ending off with Craftsman Tools. Now coming out first to get us started for Freestyle, Sam Carter and Cottonmouth. First year driving this Rat Trap 5 chassis, of course with the Cottonmouth identity on it. Mostly driving arenas and fairground shows before this year. I believe this is only his third show driving in a big stadium like this. So far, pretty decent start to the run. Not a ton of momentum and not a lot of air. Gonna go for a slap wheelie here, maybe. Yes, he is. Right up onto the wheelie bar. Beautiful slap wheelie there. Now we're going to get a set of cyclones out of him. These Rat Trap trucks love doing cyclones. They also love flipping during them. Although we haven't seen that as much with the newer Rat Trap 5 and 6 chassis. We saw it a lot with the first 3 chassis. Coming down the last 25 seconds of the run here for Cottonmouth. Not a bad run. Just not a lot of wow factors here. Another great slap wheelie. Looking around for his next move. Going to go for a sky wheelie here maybe. Not much of one. I don't think the back of the lanes are cut that good for a sky wheelie. And some good air over that blue stack to finish us off. And he's going to keep on going. We'll have to wait to see what the score is going to be for Sam Carter and Cottonmouth to get us started. Right now going back into another set of cyclones. Around and around he goes. Is he going to dump it on its lid? Is it going to stay on all 4? Looks like it's going to stay on all 4. And it's going to be a 19 to get us started from Sam Carter in Cottonmouth. Next up, Logan Hopkins comes out in Nemesis. Teammate truck to Airborne Assault. We'll have to see what he can do. been a little bit of a slow start for him in his career. Not a ton of momentum in racing or in freestyle. Good slap wheelie to get us started off, however. So we'll have to see how much more he can grow driving this truck. Of course, this truck also on the former Airborne Assault chassis. Got a new one going into last year and expanded into the second truck. And brought Logan on to develop as a driver. Great slap wheelie right on the bumper. And looking for his next move, getting some good air off the big send it ramp. But not a lot to talk about so far this run, about halfway done. And just putting around looking for something to hit. And now he's going to take a turn going for a sky wheelie, not going to get it. Much like we saw out of Cottonmouth, back of the racing lanes. Just don't quite have a cut in them for sky wheelies. Good little air off that car sack, and then some more good air off the racing lane. 15 seconds left on the clock. Some good air over the van stack. A little bit of a slap wheelie. Oh, gets into trouble on a bicycle. And he's going to shut it down right there. Just a couple seconds left on the clock. Going to be a 17 for Nemesis. So not quite enough to take the lead. As now we have Abby Powell coming out in Prehistoric Crush. First time seeing this truck in quite a long time. Like I said in racing, I believe last time we saw it was 2003. Abby taking over driving duties from Thomas Presley. Still owns the truck, just not driving it anymore. Good hit on that van stack into a good slap wheelie. Now Abby, very used to driving in small arenas and whatnot, so definitely the biggest floor and biggest obstacle she's seen. That truck loves doing slap wheelies. This truck also not that powerful, only about 1,100 horsepower in this truck, whereas most of the other trucks in the field have around 1,400. It's a very underpowered truck here compared to everyone else. And it looks like she's going to try for a set of donuts here. This truck open front rear differential, so not really a fan of doing donuts, but she got him going. And 10 seconds left on the clock. What does she have left for us? Some more good air into another slap wheelie. Try to get one. Again, that lack of power, though, just couldn't get the front end up. And judges might count this one last hit. Going for another slap wheelie. Ooh, a little tripped up there, but she's going to recover it. And looks like she's going to park it on the cars there. Going to get a 14 from the judges. Not a lot they wanted to do with that run. Next up, Joe Montgomery and Snow Problem. Like I said, in racing, brand new chassis for him. But it's not an actual brand new chassis. This is the former Busted Knuckles chassis. When Christian Holt got his new chassis last year, him and Joe had an agreement that Joe was going to buy this chassis and move Snow Problem onto it. So far, Joe looking really good in this new truck. Of course, not the result he was looking for in racing, but he's driving like a new man in this truck. Not a lot of fear. Great little sky wheelie going up that. First driver to go after that obstacle. Getting a set of donuts about halfway through the run out of them. And now big air off that van stack for Joe Montgomery. Of course, we also used to see Joe team with his wife, hard landing on the left side. But we used to see Joe drive with his wife, Alice Montgomery, in Utter Madness. She's since retired now. But from what Joe has told me, his son, Ricky Montgomery, is going to be taking over that chassis debuting a brand new identity here by the end of the year. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing Ricky anytime soon. Joe getting a little crazy there at the end. He's going to park it there, get a 21. But we look forward to seeing Ricky Montgomery in the future. So now we have Toby Miller coming out in Warlord. As I said in racing, this team has a brand new chassis in the works for next year. And this is the last event for this old Warlord chassis. Debuted back in the mid-90s, been running strong. But its time as a competitive truck has come to an end. And we look forward to seeing what he's got planned for next year. Here it's going to be a similar chassis to what the Team Rat Trap trucks are. And great air off the racing lane. Getting into a little bit of trouble there, however. So far, great start for Warlord. Taking a little time to get from obstacle to obstacle, but big air all over the place. And now another set of donuts. A lot of people doing donuts tonight. I believe everyone's done at least one set. Toby just kind of hitting and quitting it there. And big air going over the back of the step up. 30 seconds left on the clock for Warlord. One of the best runs I think we've ever seen out of Warlord here in KORR Monsters. Ooh, getting into a little trouble back onto all four wheels. And some more good air going over that van stack. Oh, getting into a little trouble up and over. He's going to go. He's not going to recover that one. Going to be a 21 from the judges. Good enough to tie for the lead. As now we have Mike Burton coming out in Bull Tilt. Of course, Mike used to drive No Mercy. Got an offer to come drive Bull Tilt, and he jumped on that offer. Sold No Mercy. And so far, he's been doing pretty decent here in Bull Tilt this year. And good little slap wheelie there. Coming off the racing lamp, blowing the nose out the hood. More great air off the racing lane. Around looking for that next hit. And gonna go for a slap wheelie here. Blowing the smoke. Didn't really commit to it too much. Got it up, but didn't carry it for long. Halfway through the run. Great air over that van stack. Hard landing. Gets into trouble. Up and over. He's going to go. And back onto all four wheels, but the truck shut off. Looks like the officials are going to let him keep going. If he can get the truck refired, and he does. Lost a horn in that flip. And gets a hit on the racing lane. Clock's going to restart now. Down to the last 30 seconds of this run. And some more good air. Another hard landing on the right side, however. And going to go for a cross thread here. Oh, up and over. He's going to go. Not saving that one. It's going to be a 22. Going to take the lead, but not by much. And still a ton of room at the top of the leaderboard. So now we have Huxley Baxter coming out in moving violation. Rebuilt this chassis in the off-season. Gave it a whole new cradle, new shock towers. And apparently still kept some speed in that truck. Did pretty good in racing. Not quite enough to make it to the finals, however. So we'll have to see how it freestyles now. Some good air off that racing lane. Also hearing from Huxley that next year, or maybe even sooner, he's going to expand that team into a second truck, and it sounds like Jim Baxter is going to be moving into that second truck. So he'll be leaving Howler after this season. Also hearing that new truck's going to be them bringing back the Flying High name. Of course, Huxley used to drive that truck back in the 90s. Switched between it and moving violation every year. And we're about to get a reverse move out of Huxley Baxter. Not a lot of elevation out of that, but still, we do not see a reverse move that often here in KORR Monsters. But a great move there out of Huxley Baxter. 15 seconds on the clock. Gonna get a set of donuts out of him. And time for one, maybe two more hits here if he's quick about it. Get some good air off of that ramp. Cross threads over the step up. Good run there from Huxley. I feel like that should take the lead, but we'll have to see what the judges think. So far, they've been scoring pretty low tonight. Huxley's going to keep on going here for a bit. And it looks like he's going to park it there. It's going to be a 22. Not quite enough to take the lead, but he will tie for the lead. As next up, Herbert Miller, Airborne Assault coming out. We saw his teammate come out earlier in Nemesis. Huge air to get us started off the back of the step up. Now, I've been hearing Herbert's not a huge fan of this chassis. Debuted it last year. He hasn't quite got it figured out in racing. He was fast tonight. Unfortunately, got a penalty, kept him out of the semifinals. So not, ooh, that was an awkward hit. Looks like something grabbed the back of the chassis. Sway bar is inverted now on the back of that truck. Have to see how that affects how that truck drives now. But I'm already hearing words. Herbert might be looking into a new chassis once again. Not really happy with how that one's performing. Gets into trouble. Brings it back onto all four wheels. Yes, he does, and keeps it out of the wall. Everyone in this building is happy about that one. And once again, clock got stopped because the truck shut off. And now it's restarted once again. Ooh, getting into trouble. Up and over. He's going to go. And that's going to be it. It's only going to be a 17 for Herbert Miller and Airborne Assault. Next up, Harper Ray, Linex Defender. Both your 2007 and 2008 racing champion. Getting us started here on the floor. Harper has very mixed luck here in freestyle. He either fills time and puts on a pretty good, like solid mid-20s run, or about halfway through, he's going to get one really weird, stupid bounce, and the truck's just going to go right over. So far, looking like a pretty good run out of him so far. Some more good air off that racing lane. Not really any wow factor, not a ton of momentum from what we normally see out of him. And just a couple of rotations in that donut. And going right for that step up. Oh, getting into trouble up and over. He's going to go once again. It's only an 18 for Linex Defender. So we come down last couple of trucks now. Trip Cassidy coming out, Rat Trap 6. Had his winning streak broken here in racing in the semifinals. Have to see how hard he's going to drive this truck now. So far, looking like he's going to drive it pretty hard. Big air to big air, not something we normally see a ton of out of the Rat Trap trucks, especially out of the gate. Just hitting everything. Great momentum so far, too. Huge air off that car stack. It wasn't a ton of height, but he carried it across like half the floor. And more great air going over that van stack. Trip, of course, also no slouch in racing as well. Won the championship all the way back in 2000, driving his own truck, Outlaw Thunder. Monstrous air off that racing lane. But Trip also a pretty good freestyler. He's got a couple of wins in the past. Right now, this is looking like the best run of the night so far. Coming down last 10 seconds on the clock. Going right to the center of the floor, going to go for a set of Cyclones now. Right as the clock expires. Center of the floor, getting a classic set of Rat Trap Cyclones. Oh, Truck's hiking up. It comes back down, hikes back up again. Is that one going over? Not yet. Now it is on his lid. It's going to be 25 from the judges. So best run of the night so far takes the lead, but still a ton of room at the top with just 2 trucks left. So now Kinsley Parks comes out. NGK Igniter Racing winner. Huge air to get us started. Of course, Kinsley, one of the craziest drivers we have here in KORR Monsters, up there with Opal Baxter and Jack Schroeder. However, unlike those two, she does not have a freestyle championship, but she does have a racing championship. She won back in 2005, I believe, driving Sunoco. Right now, really good run out of her. Great momentum, great air. Oh, getting into trouble, brings it back down. Halfway through the run now, looks like she's lining up for something. Going big cross thread, huge air, and just plants the back of the truck on the ground, rips the entire rear end out of the truck. Gets a 20 from the judges. Not enough to take the lead, but what a crash there from her. So now last truck out, Kyle Gibson and Craftsman Tools almost goes over immediately. Getting some good air off that racing lane for his next hit. Of course, Kyle started off this year with a bang, landing the first ever backflip here in KORR Monsters. All the way back in Atlanta. So far, pretty good momentum right now. Kyle, of course, also former off-road racer. And that looks like he's going to go for a cross thread as well. Gets tripped up by the van stack, up and over, and not saving that one. It's going to be a 15 for Craftsman Tools, which means Trip Cassidy in Rat Trap 6 is your freestyle winner here tonight. Really low scoring event, but I feel like the order's probably right on that one. As we go through the rest of it, Bull Tilt and Moving Violation both with a 22. Snow Problem Warlord with a 21. NGK Igniter with a 20. Cottonmouth with a 19. Linux Defender with an 18. Nemesis and Airborne Assault with a 17. Craftsman with a 15. And then Prehistoric Crush in last place with a 14. But as always, let us know what you thought about this show down in the comments below. And of course, only now 2 more weeks until we get to KORR Monsters Finals 10. So let us know who you're excited to see at that event. And as always, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week for the last regular season stop in Minneapolis. We'll see you then.